adults falling. Do you want to do an adults? How do we segue into
I
adults
think
falling?
easily. I think very easily.
Greetings, guys. Been meaning to send this one over for a bit and actually thought my window had closed until I heard you mention to keep sending the adult falling down stories in. So here's the data. I'm a 53-year-old boat mechanic from Ventura. I'm 6 foot tall and about 200 pounds. About a year ago, I was at work wrenching away on a job when far off in the distance, I could hear that old familiar sound that sends kids the world over into an absolute frenzy. That's right, the ice cream man. Now, I don't know how things are in your town, but in my neighborhood, the ice cream man is called Mr. Softy. This isn't your run of the mill ice cream truck. This guy doles out soft serve ice creams, milkshakes, malts, root beer floats, banana splits, you name it, they are the bomb. I'm a sucker for a chocolate malt, so of course I drop my tools and head out the door. As soon as I exit my work bay, I see a couple of younger coworkers in their early 20s heading the same way. They're about 40 yards ahead of me already, and I tell myself, no effing way these kids are gonna get a jump on me to the ice cream truck. So I decide to take off running. I'm talking full speed, fast as you can, booking it. I can't even remember the last time I ran as fast as I could, but I was all in. I blast past them at full stride, not even saying a word. As I pass, one of them goes, "Woo, there goes Jay. Look at him go." Damn, I think the old man moving quick and correct. Just as I'm leaving the lot and I head towards the sidewalk, I kick the metal track that our front gate runs on. This sends my upper body forward and downward while my lower body is trying to catch up with the forward momentum. It's all very slow motion at this point. I get three big steps in before I realize there's no recovering from this. I am going to slam. Since I've got an old injury from dislocating my shoulder, I've conditioned myself to tuck my arm and shoulders in towards my body to prevent that from happening. So that's exactly what I do. Tuck in and prepare for impact. I end up doing a full shoulder drive into the sidewalk, jamming my arm into my rib cage, sliding and finally coming to a stop in a heap in the middle of the sidewalk. Grown ass man laid out on the sidewalk. I'm grasping for air because I almost knocked the wind out of me and I roll over to gather myself. When I do, my younger coworkers have finally arrived and they're tripping out, asking, "Dude, you just slammed so hard." I sit up and I see some other people watching from across the street as well. Physically, I'm hurting, but my pride has taken the biggest hit of all. I eventually pick myself up with the help of my coworkers and I limp my way around the corner to Mr. Softy, where I get to the front of the line and get a large chocolate malt. My hurt ribs keep me out of the water for about a month, but the hit to my pride lingers on. That's my adult down stories. Thanks, guys. Do work. Jaybird from Ventura.
Jay, that is my favorite story yet. The fact that you were running to an ice cream truck and slammed makes it that much better.
A 53-year-old man running full speed to an ice cream truck is the greatest premise of
I
any
mean,
story.
absolutely. I don't know how there's like I know Mr. Softy from New York. I don't know. Some genius in Ventura must have thought, the ice cream trucks rolling around where you get like crap bottle rockets or whatever they're called, the frozen junk. That's all garbage. I'm going straight Mr. Softy. I think if I recall from my research, Mr. Softy has 0% dairy in it.
Mm,
Like and not in a healthy way, that it's a pure chemical creation.
got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. And it makes sense too that the dude in Ventura, he knows Mr. Softy in New York is never going to come out and find him. It's not like he bought into the franchise. He just
No,
realized I could just do a version of this, call it the same thing. They're never going to chase me down legally.
no, nobody's ever going to know one thing about me rolling around Ventura, the Ventura Harbors until
Exactly.
now. Until
Exactly.
now. Thanks, Jay.
Um, the so I love this story as well. The three lumbering steps trying to catch, like he worded it perfectly. Your upper body momentum has shifted forward, and your brain tells yourself, my lower body, if I take a large step, will get centered over the upper body.
My upper
And
body will stop at some point.
and after three lumbering steps, realizing, nope, can't catch up. the forward mass has gone too far. So I'm going to just create a strategy for going in.
I know exactly like I have, excuse me, shoulder dislocation too. And so I would do the same thing, right? You do not put your hand out. That's how I dislocated it the first time. So going in basically knowing I gotta take this fall with my face, and then trying to figure out how not to do that while also not using your arms is a real mental calculus in this moment of tumble.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time you ran full speed?
That's the funny thing too. I think we could have a whole other segment of adults running flat out, where I think the last time I ran full speed was racing kids at a playground. And this was a couple years ago. And I think that I felt the tweak in my hamstring and thought, I'm going to pull this thing. And so slowed down. And I think it was sore for a couple days, but I didn't actually pull it. But that worried me so much. Uh, it might have even started my running, like where now I feel I could go, not, I could go full on and not die because I run regularly, but still, it's hard to go full on out. If you're old, you are begging for something to pop real quick unless you are conditioned to kind of run.
The only way around this is if you were on your regular run and mid jog, you decided to go up to full speed and then slow back down to a jog. But there's no way you start from zero, hit a sprint, and then stop.
It's Jay. I mean, Jay, this was a Pulitzer Prize worthy essay that Jay wrote, because that too, of when you're first doing it, thinking, I can't remember the last time I did this. You're like, I'm running, I'm flying, I'm like the birds. And then just it ends in disaster 10 times out of 10. No adult who is not a regular runner has gone into zero to full sprint and survived.
Nope. Totally
No,
agree. It doesn't
nobody,
happen.
nobody
And if
has done
and
it
if
and got like, woo.
the other thing is the only reason it ever happens is for some stupid game. Like Ice Cream Man, that's motivating the run, or we should have a race right now. Like,
Exactly.
and that's stupid too. Like, there's no reason you should actually be doing. If your kid was about to get hit by a car, maybe superhuman strength could take over and you could execute the run in that moment. But that's so rare. It's only drunk people or ice cream chasers coming up with a reason to do it.
I'm telling you, just you wait. Just you wait. Austin and his buddies, come 6 years, are going to be standing around. So you have like 6 more years of atrophy to build up here. They're going to be standing around. They're going to say, like, we can beat you. And your pride is going to say, no, you can't. They're going to be just young enough, because at some point you say, yep, you got me. Like, I've thrown in the towel on the speed. I'll still beat you physically, but throwing in the towel on the speed. But there'll be a point where he's still young enough and his buddies are young enough where you'll be like, no, not yet, young man. Just get ready for something pulled or something. Get ready for a hospital stay after that.
So similar to that, Austin rides his little scooter, like a razor scooter thing. I talked Lauren into racing him.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh,
she
you or
was the
she's gonna race him.
she was the runner. We already did it. It was like a couple months ago where he's outside doing his thing, and I was like, and he's like, chase me, or something like that. And so she was just chasing him around playfully. And I was like, let's see who could win in a race. And so she was wise enough to not go full sprint and he ended up winning the race. But in her mind, initially, she was committed to doing it. And as soon as they took off, I think she realized, like, if I don't slow my momentum down into a trot,
I'm
this isn't
tumbling.
gonna, I'm tumbling. So she gave
Yeah.
it like 5 seconds of full takeoff and then was just like, I'm just going to kind of let him go. And
Yeah.
I have the whole thing on video too, because I was going to capture the fall if it happened.
I mean, that is epic. And it's so like that calculus also, I've had that exact in my brain of, you ain't taking me, punk. And then
Yeah.
realize it, like running it over, like, yeah, I could beat him. I could beat him. But it will, like, 9 out of 10 chance that it's not good for me.
The other thing is, if there is video that exists, um, it's not a graceful running full sprint is not a graceful look for anybody.
Nope.
Like,
Nope.
I mean, maybe for Olympic runners, they can pull it off. They keep a
Trained sprinters
stoic,
can.
yeah, stoic face.
Yeah.
But for you and I, we're going to be making the weirdest faces in the world, jiggly fat in places you didn't know you had it. Like, it's
Arms,
mind
arms and legs all akimbo, like
totally.
completely out of whack.
Yeah.
Like zero aerodynamics, zero grace, nothing but like energy being exerted stupidly.
You do not want Brad Gerlach to review the video footage of your running because he will shame you on your terrible form.
Brad should, though. Brad should have a sub tier in the wave key that also helps adults run.
Exactly.